Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, good evening, beloveds. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we welcome Dr. Abd al-Haqq Godlas. I'm Rifka Leah Savage, a community leader with the Northeast Sufi community and a co-founder of the nonprofit Unity Peace Prayer. I'm so happy to be here tonight to introduce Dr. Godlas. He's been a wonderful mentor and friend to me. He has such a beautiful love and deep connection with the divine, and he's very, very inspirational to so many people. Also, Abd al-Haqq is an associate professor in the Department of Religion, as well as a graduate coordinator at the University of Georgia, where he teaches courses on Islam, Sufism, Quranic and Hadith studies, Arabic and Persian courses. He received his doctorate in Near East Studies from the University of California, Berkeley. Abd al-Haqq has been a lifelong student of Sufism. He met Sidi al-Jamal in Jerusalem in 1985 and taught by Sidi's side for many, many years. Sidi gave him ijaza, which means permission, to teach the wazifa and to give the Sufi bayat or promise. He says that understanding the true nature of Islam is critical in the world today. Towards that goal, Abd al-Haqq keeps an in-depth Facebook page, which helps to educate students and the public. You may connect with him on Facebook. Look for Abd Godlas, University of Georgia. He has many wonderful postings and informative postings. Abd al-Haqq brings wisdom to the world by speaking and teaching across the globe in places such as the United States, Turkey, Morocco, Iran, Malaysia, India, Australia, the UK, and many more. And he speaks 9 languages. Abd al-Haqq's passions include Sufism, Islamic music, Quranic commentary, and Moroccan architectural art. He speaks to us tonight on the subject of the Marifa Asir, the knowing of the secret. Welcome, Abd al-Haqq.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
1 second.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Assalamu alaikum. Am I coming through now loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you really well.
All right. And can you see me as well?
Yes, we can. Wonderful.
All right, very good. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadar Rasulullah. Adam Rasulullah. Ibrahim Rasulullah. Musa Rasulullah. Isa Rasulullah. Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taslima. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Thank you all for joining us, for inviting me. Alhamdulillah, we're here at a very interesting time. this coronavirus that everyone now is probably aware of, it's very interesting what Allah has brought by means of this virus. It reminds me of around 1970, 73 or so, 70, I think it was 73, we had what was called the gas crisis. And there was an element of what people are feeling now, except that was much less intense than the general heightening of things are in a very difficult way for many people and will be even more difficult. So I think just like at that time, one of the benefits of that crisis, which of course came on the heels of the Vietnam War, the racial crisis in the United States, all of that combined to produce a reaction in people's hearts, which to some degree brought about a spiritual awakening. So inshallah, I'm hopeful that as people are coping with this challenge, one possible result will be a similar awakening, inshallah. So I'll come back to this state of fear that to some degree is touching many of us. I'll come back to this in the course of what I will talk about today. But I want to start out with a little dhikr together. So let us all spend a couple of minutes in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering that when we say La ilaha, we're reminding ourselves that this divinity, this pseudo-divinity, ilah, that we are moving beyond when we say La ilaha, when we say there is no divinity, nothing worthy of worship, no pseudo-divinity. This pseudo-divinity that we are negating, that we are moving beyond, is ourself and any thought, feeling, or perception that we have, any fear that we have, any desire that we have. This is a pseudo-divinity. When we are aware of this, and at the same time not aware that all of this is sustained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a pseudo-divinity is when you're here facing something, whether it's something enjoyable or whether it's something difficult. This is all an ilah, this sense that it's you here and you're just facing some feeling and thought and perception that you have. Facing this without the embrace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without the embrace of our beloved, facing this without the embrace, without the sense that love is embracing us. That's a false vision, that it's just you, it's just me facing whatever it is that I'm facing in life. That's a pseudo-divinity. And so we say, La ilaha. It's not the whole picture. It's not a completely false picture, because you are thinking what you're thinking and feeling what you're feeling, perceiving what you're perceiving. It's not a false picture, it's just not the whole picture. And so with La ilaha, we launch ourselves beyond this false limited picture, this partial picture, and put ourselves at the threshold of Allah when we say illallah. And we remember when we say illallah that all of the false pictures, all of the pseudo divinities, all of the ilahs, all of the shariks, all of these are simply pictures that are embraced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sustained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah is the Lord sustainer, the Rabb of every picture of all of the worlds. So when we do this dhikr of La ilaha illallah, Allah is inviting us to make this journey of remembering that all of these pseudo-divinities, all of these pictures are embraced by Allah. They're not complete pictures. And so when we say La ilaha, we remember it's not a complete picture. It's not false. We don't try to eradicate this picture, this desire, this fear. We don't try to eradicate it. We just travel. We walk from the false picture back into the complete picture, which is Allah. Allah is the only reality, the only true picture, encompassing all the pictures. So, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. So please remember this dhikr together with me at this point. La ilaha illallah, 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 La محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today I'll start out talking about Ma'rifat as-Sir from page 113 in the Music of the Soul. Okay, Ma'rifa. First of all, what is Ma'rifa? Knowing is how we commonly translate it. Another translation is gnosis. And that's because there are really two types of knowing in Arabic, Persian, and Turkish, and other Islamic languages. And these two types of knowing are the ordinary type of knowing when you're talking to someone and they say, and you know what they said. When you read a book, you use your rational mind and you learn what it says. You went to school, you hear your teachers. Your ordinary knowledge known through rational means is a type of knowledge in Arabic called ilm. So in Arabic, we have one word for ordinary rational knowing, and then there's another word, ma'rifa, which is knowledge through experience, through relatively unmediated experience, direct knowledge. So ma'rifa to sir, concerning the sir is this locus of consciousness that is very deep at the core of one's being. Another way to translate the sir is the secret, the mystery, the mysterium. But the fact is, the sir is a locus of consciousness that's different from your nafs al-ammara, your commanding, compelling self. This is the point, the nexus between you and God is the sir, the deep mystery, the deep secret. So ma'rifat as-sir is not what you can read about it. It's not what you can hear anyone else telling you about it. Ma'rifat as-sir is what you yourself discover directly from your own sir, from the core of your being, where you are at the threshold of the divine, where you are in the beloved's embrace and are aware of that. So there is knowledge of the ma'rifat as-sir, and that's what we can read about in this book, in the Music of the Soul. We can read about the ma'rifat as-sir, and that's ilm. That's not ma'rifat itself. It's knowledge of the ma'rifat as-sir, knowledge of direct knowledge of the sir. But to actually have and to be gaining ma'rifat as-sir means to be going and experiencing, walking, being at the point of the sir, surrendering from being trapped in your own commanding self, in your nafs, surrendering from that into the deeper level of our being. So Sidi begins, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maybe someone has said to you, there are many religions, but no, there is only one religion, the religion of love, the religion of mercy, the religion of politeness, And here, politeness in English is really, we have to use it as a guide to the actual word, which is adab. Politeness, or adab, which CD talks about, I think. Also, he has a chapter on adab a few pages before in the Music of the Soul. But basically, adab is ways of how we have to respond to God, how we have to respond to Allah, as well as to our fellow human beings and our fellow creatures on this planet. Adab obviously goes way beyond our ordinary usage of the word politeness, but we can extend and enrich the word politeness with our understanding of adab, namely that politeness, true politeness, is how we have to respond, recognizing that we are always in the presence of Allah, and how we have to respond, recognizing that our fellow human beings, our creatures on the planet, are not just others. They're not simply things, but rather they are God's creation, Allah's creation, the khalqul. Law. Native Americans symbolized to wear moccasins, symbolizing the idea of treading lightly. This is the idea of adab. And so similarly, we need to tread lightly in existence. We need to behave with adab, the awareness that we are always in the presence of, and everything has been brought into being by our beloved as a part of this grand drama designed to both bring us back to our beloved, to discover the hidden treasures in all of existence at every moment, these qualities of Allah that Allah is displaying at every moment of our lives. That's the purpose of all of this. So we need to respond with adab, with this politeness that recognizes that our beloved is present wherever we are. So there are many religions, but no, there is only one religion, the religion of love, the religion of mercy, the religion of politeness. When you find this religion, then come and follow this religion. If one can see the light from the darkness, then one must follow the light. When anyone walks in the night and there is no light, it's difficult to find the way. But when one sees a light and comes closer, one comes closer to the light, the way becomes clearer. The light is the religion that does not make a difference between anyone. What does that mean, to not make a difference? Obviously, there are secondary differences. You're you, I'm me, the differences in pictures, but what CD means here in not making a difference between anyone, the religion teaches us, guides us to not make a difference between anyone. What he means is that essentially to recognize that we are all manifestations of the qualities of Allah. We are all Allah's self-manifestations, Allah's tajalliyat, Allah's theophanies. That we're all carrying this sir, this mystery, that we are all made in the image of God, mirrors of God, carriers of the unity underneath whatever picture we happen to be representing at this moment. This unity that underlies, this love that underlies the picture that we're aware of right now is also called the meaning, the ma'na. For every picture beneath the surface, there is the meaning. This word meaning, though, is different than the English word meaning. What we translate as ma'na, as meaning, is that there is the unity and the love beneath the surface of the picture, encompassing the picture. But when we're trapped, when we're caught at the level of pictures, we forget and we lose sight of the meaning, the unity, and the love, and the light beneath the surface and encompassing the picture as well. So this is what he means when he says it. The religion does not make a difference, does not differentiate between anyone. It doesn't differentiate between black and white or men and women. The religion is only to give love and only to give mercy to everyone, rahmah, and to give them what they need. This is the religion of God. He wants everyone, God wants everyone to be Moses, to be Abraham. Allah wants, at the same time, wants everyone to be Noah and Jesus. He wants you, he wants me to be Jesus, Muhammad, and to carry all of the prophets in our hearts. Allah. This is the true religion and the only religion. All students of this religion live in all of the stations of the prophets at all times, at any time. They are the sons and the daughters of the truth and the mothers of the truth. Where is this son, son and daughter that we are, where is this coming from? He or she comes from our Father, but our true Father. All of the, what he means is that all of the, as he says, all of the creation is the reflection of God. This, see, means is our source. All creation is the reflection of God. Not just way back when, but right now. Right now, where we are coming from is Allah, appearing in this three-dimensional world. Allah. There is no thing, only God. There is no thing, Sidi says, there is no thing, only God. Everything returns to the place of its birth. Alhamdulillah. If you have any questions at this point, I can take a question. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. So, were there any, I'm assuming there are no questions, right?
I haven't seen any. Thank you.
Okay, very good. If there's a question, will it appear or will you tell me?
Inshallah, I'll see a hand, or sometimes people will take the pause and just unmute themselves. So inshallah, either way.
All right. So, what we are talking about, what CD is talking about here, even though it is not, you're hearing it is not the ma'rifah, you're hearing about the ma'rifah. Elsewhere, this is called the knowledge of certainty. And it's important to have this knowledge as ilm, this knowledge about ma'rifah, because it gives us something to aspire to. It reminds us of the reality that we have long ago either forgotten or at some point have forgotten. So it's important to, in order to begin to do the walking, to remind ourselves of what we lose when we get stuck in the pictures. So that's one of the purposes of reading the books, reading what CD has written, is to reawaken our thirst, to reawaken our yearning for this paradise of being with the beloved in the garden, at the sir. CD says, there is no thing, only God. There is no thing, no you, only God. Everything returns to the place of its birth. When does everything, we can ask, when does everything return to the place of its birth? Right now. You, me, all of us are returning to the place of our birth, the place of our birth in the unity right now, over and over and over again. CD says, I hope everyone can carry the qualities, can carry all the qualities of God. I hope that everyone can carry all the qualities of God. So we can ask, how do you do that? How do you carry all the qualities of God? Well, the answer is that you start with the quality that Allah is offering you at this moment. Even though you may not be aware of what that quality's name is. Right now, Allah is inviting us to carry the quality that is appearing as the whatever picture we happen to be seeing, thinking of, and feeling at this moment. So when CD says, I hope everyone can carry all the qualities of God, what that means to us is right now, CD is saying to each of us, beloved, carry this quality that Allah is inviting you to carry right now. Carry the quality of this moment. Be the son and daughter of this moment. That means to carry the quality that is appearing at this moment. Now we can say, well, if I'm not carrying it, what am I doing? When we're not carrying the quality, we're just hanging out at the level of the picture, which doesn't mean that we're completely divorced from the quality. Doesn't mean that we're completely divorced from carrying the quality. It just means we're only at the surface. So Allah, as Sidi reminds us, Allah is inviting us not just to carry the picture, but to carry the whole quality. What does that mean? It means to carry the picture as well as the love that is bringing this quality into being, the love that is rushing into being with this quality. At each moment, the qualities are surging into being, into your consciousness, as our consciousness. The qualities are surging into being. And Sidi reminds us that Allah is inviting us to carry this quality, to gratefully receive not just the picture, but the whole quality. Allah that is being sustained, brought into being, this hidden treasure that Allah loves to be known. Allah is inviting us to gratefully receive it and carry the whole quality. Allah, Allah, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum, Abd al-Haqq.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Please.
I'm wondering if you might share your experience in this particular moment that we're sharing of the quality that Allah is sending to this group at this moment.
Yeah, at this moment, what Allah is, as I'm experiencing it, Allah is letting us know that there is a surging of life, that life surges into our beings and becomes us as we know it, as we know ourselves, as we perceive. This life that is surging into our being. And at each instant shifts, at each instant can shift to have a little tint of this, a little tint of that, a little tint of fear, a little tint of hope, a little tint of yearning, a little tint of sadness. This life that is this quality of life, and each moment, the quality that comes into being at this new moment can shift. It shifts quite rapidly at each moment. But underlying whatever particular quality surfaces at the level of the pictures, there is this surging of life that is Allah is inviting us to discover. So after that, Sidi says, I hope everyone can carry all the qualities of God. In the beginning, God said to the angels, pray for Adam. Here, what does CD mean? God said to the angels, pray for Adam. This is a translation of a Quranic verse that occurs in a few times, which is usjudu li Adama. Another way to translate that is prostrate before Adam. So God said to the angels, pray for Adam, prostrate for Adam. The angels did not pray for Adam really, but prayed for the qualities of Adam, because these were the qualities of God. So take a second and, in remembrance of the angels, of Allah telling the angels, usjudu li Adama. Take a second now and step away from your computers and prostrate as the angels did. Prostrate before Adam, before the qualities in Adam. And those same qualities are in you. So let's just all do that. Allah. Usjudu, prostrate before Adam. This prostration, this prayer for Adam, is the entirety of the walking. This is what we need to be doing, or is the key to the walking. We need to be prostrating before the qualities, the divine qualities that manifest as Adam, that manifest as us, that manifest as the seer. That's what the seer is. The seer is our primordial nature, our fitra, our true nature that we were born with. When we call it the seer, we recognize that this is deeply at the core of who we are. The problem, if we remember from the Quran, is that Allah says to the angels, usjudu li Adama, prostrate to Adam, to these qualities, all of my qualities that I have implanted in Adam, that Adam embodies. The problem is that the angels prostrate, but who doesn't prostrate? Shaitan. And then when we come along and take on and embody this lack of prostration exemplified by Shaitan, how does that appear? How does that manifest in our lives when we manifest Shaitan's lack of prostrating? What it means is that when we fail to recognize that these are all the qualities, when we are caught at the level of pictures, when we are caught at the level of ilah, as in la ilaha illallah, when we're caught at the level of sharik, the giving partners to God, when we're seeing only the pictures and we fail to recognize that whatever picture is appearing is actually the surface of a divine quality. When we forget that, and when we forget that, we also forget to be grateful for the gift of this divine quality. And so when that happens, when we forget to respond with gratitude to this quality, this moment's quality that's appearing, and we then get stuck at the level of a picture, thinking that this is just a picture, it's not a divine quality. When that happens, we shut our heart unconsciously, involuntarily. Our heart becomes cut off, out of touch with the love that is surging into us, bringing this moment's quality into manifestation and appearing as a picture. So fortunately, Allah's gifts, constant gifts of these qualities never stops. So even when we have forgotten to prostrate to Adam, even when we have forgotten to respond with gratitude for this moment's hidden treasure that is appearing and seems from one moment to the next as a fearful picture, as a joyful picture, as a dangerous picture, as a beautiful picture, when we forget that we forget to prostrate and recognize that whatever picture is appearing beneath the surface, it's actually a divine quality that Allah is asking us, inviting us to prostrate to. And that's why I said that this prostration to Adam is the key to the walking on the path. So CD says, the angels did not pray for Adam really. They did not prostrate to Adam really, but they prayed for the qualities of Adam, because these are the qualities of God. He has given you, CD says, God has given you, Allah has given you the same qualities. Allah has given you the same qualities, has given me, has given all of us the same qualities that he gave to Adam. Why? CD says, to know ourselves. To know ourselves, which is, of course, to know God. And so we have the famous saying that CD would often quote, whoever knows oneself knows one's Lord Sustainer. And we come back also to the Hadith Qudsi, where God says, I was a hidden treasure, and I love that I be known, so I created creation in order to be known. So by knowing, God brings all of this into creation in order so that we can know ourselves truly. And by knowing ourselves truly as not simply a picture, but as a divine quality that is manifesting in a new way at each moment, underlying the tremendous diversity, there's always the love, always the all-encompassing unity, the all-encompassing embrace of the beloved. That's the meaning beneath the surface of the picture. Sidi continues and says, "Oh, my sons and daughters, you are everything. You are everything. But open your hearts and see the meaning." What does he mean by this? See the meaning? See the unity beneath the picture. Again, the term here, the picture in classical Sufi literature, the word is surah. It sounds the same as Quranic surah, but a Quranic surah is with a sin, surah, and the picture is a surah with a sod. Beneath the surface of each surah is the ma'na, the meaning. But the meaning is not just what we normally understand in English as, well, what does something mean? A teacher might have said to you, well, what's the meaning of that paragraph? The meaning, in the sense that Sidi is using it, is a crucial term in Sufi thought. The meaning is the unity, the underlying each picture. And together, the surah and the meaning, the picture and the meaning, that's a quality. That's the tajalli of a quality. So every quality, as it becomes manifest, has both a picture and a meaning. And the meaning is the underlying unity or unitary dimension that encompasses all of Allah's rahmah that is one. So, oh, my sons and daughters, you are everything. But open your heart and see the meaning. Know why he made you. Know why you are in the created world. You are here only to carry the message. Allah's message of love and peace. Be the love. Be the love. How can you be the love? We can ask. How can you be the love? Well, the easy part is that you already are the love. It's just that we have this habit of only existing at the very surface of the love. And there, at the very surface of the love, sometimes we feel a little bit of the love, but a lot of the time, we don't feel the love. That's the nature of the nafs al-amara, the commanding self. It's always looking for the love in all the wrong places. It's always looking for the love in its whatever conditions it's learned to try to find them, in a particular approving glance of your father or mother, or your teachers, or your boss, or even your sheikh. But the love goes way beyond all of the conditions, all of the conditioned responses that we learn to try to eke out little drops of in this desert of existence. The love is beneath the surface of all of these pictures. But as I said, right now, this is part of the love. And so to be the love means to receive whatever quality is manifesting in the form that it's manifesting, to respond to that with gratitude. And that unlocks, the gratitude unlocks the ma'na, it unlocks the unity beneath the surface of the picture. So for example, now, when many of our pictures are infected with this virus, whether we have, hopefully most of us don't have, or don't have the virus, the coronavirus, but our pictures are infected with it, just to one degree or another. Where's the love in that? The love, to discover the love, to be the love, as C.D. says, is to respond to this, the feeling that we have of our consciousness possibly being invaded by this virus, is to respond to that with gratitude within ourselves. This, of course, says nothing about what you should do to try to make sure that you're preserving this vessel and not infecting yourselves and your loved ones. That's the lesser jihad, which we can talk about a little bit. But the principal way to be the love is to recognize that, is to respond to the, whatever is at the picture, in this case, to whatever degree our picture has been infected by the virus. What I mean by that is in our thoughts. In other words, even though we may not be physically infected by the virus, if we're thinking about it, if we've heard about it, that's come into our picture. And so in order to be the love, we need to respond to ourselves, to our thoughts that have been infected by this virus, to our feelings in which there may be a degree of fear. We need to respond to that with gratitude. To the degree we're able to respond to that with gratitude, this will unlock the meaning, the ma'na, the love that's beneath the surface, the love that is surging into our consciousness as whatever picture we happen to be seeing right now. So we can walk. Walking means following this thread that at the surface of the picture is whatever we happen to be thinking and feeling. We just follow this thread back to the beloved. How do we do that? By, fortunately, the thread is always there. We simply need to try not to deny that this is a manifesting quality from our beloved. And this is why in Surah Ar-Rahman, Allah says over and over, which of the gifts of your Lord Sustainer are you denying? So the way to get over that denying, that denial that this is a quality of God, that this is a face of God, that wherever we're turning is a face of God, the way to get over that denial, to let go of that denial, is to respond with gratitude to Allah. Not because a particular picture, we can see the wisdom in a particular picture or act of God, simply because each picture inherently is this two-dimensional gift, the picture and the ma'na, the unity, the love underlying the surface. C.D. says, be the love. Why do you lose time? What does that mean, to lose time? It means, to lose the time means to not take this moment to return to the beloved in our sacred marriage. That's what losing the time means. Losing the moment. Not using this opportunity to be the love. Why do you lose the time? Why do you wait? Come. Sidi says, come to him. He sends the voice of the guide to give you the meaning of the love. Come to him and listen to what he says. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Let's just take a few moments to do that, to be the love, to come to the guide, to listen to this invitation. La ilaha illallah. 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 Muhammadan Rasulullah. Alayhi salatullah. Are there any questions at this point?
Salam alaikum. I don't see any, but we can take a pause in case someone would like to unmute.
Okay.
If you're on the phone and you're not on Zoom, you could press *6 to unmute or raise your hand or self-unmute.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for your teachings, Abd al-Haqq. This is Amina Sandra.
Well, alhamdulillah, you're welcome. Thank you for
Hi.
coming.
Thank you. I don't know what my question is. I just feel like I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time all the time. I can't seem to. I mean, not that's not true. I don't feel it all the time. Thank you.
That's a great question, actually. Even when one isn't quite sure of one's question, that's a manifesting quality. Allah is giving you, is giving us a hidden treasure. We don't even need to know what the picture is. It may be a very confusing picture. And the point is that we can still respond. Allah is inviting us, even when we don't know what to ask, even though we can't quite put into words that seem right for us. That's a picture. And Allah is inviting us to return to Allah's embrace so that we can taste and know and feel the embrace of the love. And so the way to get to that embrace from the picture of some being confused somewhat is to respond to that confusion with Alhamdulillah, with this sip of gratitude, remembering that even though I can't put a name, or I may not be able to put a name to the quality or to even my question, that what I do know is that that's a picture. And beneath that picture is Allah's hand offering us the cup of love. Beneath that picture is Allah's embrace offering us the love. And so all we need to do is simply respond to that picture with this sip of remembrance, this sip of gratitude that this is what Allah, this is a quality of Allah that Allah is offering us to know deeply, to discover the fullness of the unity beneath the picture, the fullness of love and the embrace of love beneath the picture. Thank you. Any other questions? Or Sandra, if you have anything that you'd like to say about that, you're certainly welcome to say that. All right. So continuing on page 114, Sidi says, because of his love for you, he made everything. Because of Allah's love for you, not only has Allah made everything, but Allah is making this right now for you out of love. So, because of his love for you, he made everything. Why don't you love him? Great question. Why don't we love him? If he didn't, I'll come back to that. If he did not love you, Sidi says, if he did not love you, he would not have made you. But he wants you to see him in everything, to know him. This is, Sidi is giving you the answer to his question. He said, why do you not love him? The answer is that Allah wants you to see Allah in everything, to know him. He hasn't quite given us the complete answer. He wants us to figure this out, to discover it ourselves. But he's opened the door for the answer as to why we don't love Allah. So I'll ask you, why aren't you loving Allah right now? Ask yourselves, why aren't you loving Allah? Why aren't you aware of Allah's love? Another way we could say is, using the contemporary expression, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? Why aren't you loving Allah? Why do you think there's something wrong with this picture? There is actually something wrong with the picture. But Sidi here gives us a clue, and he says, he wants you to see him in everything, to know him in everything. So I'll just, does anyone have an answer? Why using this, taking Sidi's hint, when he asks, why don't you love him? And when he hints and says he wants you to see him in everything, to know him, what is our problem? Any answers? It may be at this moment, we may be afraid. And when we're afraid, what are we not doing? When we're afraid, we become victims. We get into that victim mentality. And we forget that there's something that we can do. What is it that we can do even when we're afraid, even when we suddenly fall into that victim mentality?
We have a hand up.
Yes.
Okay, Aisha, you can go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I was considering that question, and I was thinking that right now, why I don't love Allah is I'm using my brain to understand what you're saying. And then I thought about, when do I feel love for Allah? And when I am outside in nature and feeling very quiet inside of me, I feel Allah in everything, every drop, every leaf, every piece of sand, anything, the birds. And so for me, it's like my mind is what stops me from feeling Allah. But when I let go of that and take a deep breath and just be where I am, then I feel that love. I feel Allah. And it varies. It's a hard thing to do remembrance all of the time, but that's what I think for me is how I bring myself back around when I'm not in nature. I'm in a bunch of people. I'm talking with somebody, or then I find it hard to remember.
Yes, that Allah's signs are often clearer for many of us in nature. Certainly that was the case for me for many years. Nature was really the only way that or certainly the principal way that I experienced the love. Yeah, and beyond that though, what Sidi is saying here is that he wants us to discover the same kind of love and tranquility and peace that we feel when we're out in nature, or with your soulmate, or at very still moments of the night, or the sunrise or the sunset. What Allah wants is for us to discover that love even when we happen to be caught in our mind, even when we're at work, even when we're trying to do something to take care of our family. And so Allah has kind of kept our hearts alive through many of these free gifts where we don't have to work hard, like out in nature, except if you have to hike to get out there. Allah gives us those gifts in part so that we can learn, we can yearn really to have that same kind of, or a similar kind of love that we get when we're in nature, to have that when we're in our daily lives. So And CD gives us a clue as to how to do that, or as to why we fall out of love. When he says that, let's see, he says, he wants you to see him in everything. So even when you're stuck in your mind, Allah wants you to discover that you can take a breath, and that whatever you were stuck in, Allah wants you to discover that beneath that stuckness is the same love that you are cascaded into when you're out in nature. And so the trick is, how do you get to that love when you're stuck in your work or your life, in your mind, without having to tromp out into nature? The way to do it is that because that love is right here, that love is closer to you than your jugular vein. And so the way to do it is to stop cutting the love off. What that means is that unconsciously, what we have done is what Shaitan did, what Satan did when he refused to prostrate before Adam. Shaitan sees Adam and sees certain pictures, his pictures of what Adam is. Adam's just made of water and clay. That response of Shaitan to Adam, oh, he's just made of water and clay. What's going on is that Shaitan just sees the picture of Adam, just like we, when you look at yourself and you say, oh, I'm caught in my mind. If you, and when you, at that point, if you fail to take the next moment and take a breath and respond to that picture of yourself who is caught in your mind, if you forget to respond to that picture of yourself caught in your mind with this sip of gratitude, if you don't respond at any moment, that we don't respond to that picture of ourself with gratitude, if we don't respond with gratitude to Allah, then we make the mistake that Shaitan made. We fail to prostrate to Adam. We fail to recognize that this, in fact, what seems like just a picture of me caught in my mind, is in fact the quality of God. But if we fail to respond with gratitude, then with gratitude to Allah for giving us this gift, that we are simply focused on the wrapping paper, the picture of, if we fail to respond to that with gratitude, then we lose this moment's opportunity to find the love, the same love that we can get for free, so to speak, when we're out in nature, presuming that no one has destroyed that particular part of nature that we found our peace in. So to come back to the question, why we don't love God, is because Allah knows, God knows that we don't love God completely. And God gives us this moment as an opportunity, one by one, to love Allah more completely. Allah recognizes that, like Shaitan, we're going to forget and not prostrate at this moment before Adam. We're going to forget and not realize that when we're caught in our minds, in fact, that's simply another divine quality, and we're caught at the level of the picture. And so fortunately, we can respond to being caught in our minds. As you indicated, we can respond by taking a breath, a grateful breath, a grateful sip of this moment, and with our, and hopefully when we are able to do that, we open the door a little bit to this surging ma'na, this surging unity and love that's beneath the surface of every picture that can complete the quality. And this is the hidden treasure that Allah wants us to discover. So let's just take a moment to discover that with La ilaha illallah, recognizing, responding to this picture, whether we're caught in our mind, whether we're caught in an unpleasant feeling, whatever the surface picture is, we can, with this remembrance of La ilaha illallah, if we do the remembrance with these sips of gratitude, then we counteract this habitual tendency of our commanding self to deny, to cut off our heart to this moment's invitation of our beloved. This is the problem of this tendency of shaitan, to not prostrate to this divine quality, to not recognize that what appears to be us, a kind of pathetic, sometimes, a kind of pathetic creature caught in his or her mind, bullied by his or her unpleasant feelings, running like chickens with our heads cut off toward what seems to be what we desire. All of these, shaitan does not prostrate to. And we inherited that tendency from shaitan. And Allah is giving us this opportunity to right that. Allah is giving us this opportunity to uncover the love beneath this moment's picture, one picture at a time, one moment at a time. So let's take another moment to do a little dhikr, and then we'll take a few more questions. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasulullah alayhi salatullah. So we have 3 minutes left for any other questions. Three minutes
So
of,
far, I don't see any at the moment.
so,
Assalamu alaikum, Abd al-Haqq.
walaikum salam.
You mentioned that you might share your thoughts on the coronavirus again.
Yes, so the coronavirus is part of this moment's picture. From one moment to the next, we may have degrees of fear, we may have degrees of denial. Whatever the picture is, we certainly want to respond both in ways that nurture our hearts, which is the greater jihad, as well as ways that can nurture and take care of our bodies and our fellow beloveds and fellow creatures' bodies as well. So fortunately, our habit, because of our habit of our nafs, whenever we try to figure out how we should respond in the world to a threat like this coronavirus, our habit of responding to it is based on our conditioning, our nafs al-ammara, which is also together with our early childhood conditioning, as well as our early species programming. But the way we were conditioned to respond to fear, both 200,000 years ago or 50,000 years ago, as well as the ways that we were conditioned to respond to fear when we were 3 and 5 years old, all of those are the tendencies of the commanding, compelling self. The situation we're in right now, however, is very different than those conditioned responses of the nafs. The situation we're in right now is much more complex. We need to be able to respond to such threats in ways that are out of the box of our conditioning of our nafs. However, if we attempt to think out of the box and respond out of the box simply by trying to think out of the box, we'll end up responding with our conditioning of our nafs. So instead, fortunately for us, the greater jihad of opening ourselves to the love, the greater form of striving, of responding to this moment's picture, whatever it is, with gratitude to Allah, which then enables us to accept the invitation of our beloved to this sacred marriage. Fortunately for us, by responding to whatever fear of the virus we might have, or whatever kind of Pollyanna, naive, oh, we don't need to do anything about it, however we respond to that, the point is responding to it with gratitude. Whatever picture is on the surface, and we each, I suspect many of us go from sometimes one extreme to the other. Oh, I just won't worry about it. Or, oh no, I'm very concerned about it. Whatever the picture is, whether it's one of, don't need to worry about it, or whether it's one of, this is very scary and it's an important threat, whatever the picture is, what can increase the likelihood that we'll be able to think outside the box of our conditioning, what will increase the likelihood of our being able to perceive how we need to respond to this with the appropriate adab, taking it appropriately seriously, fortunately for us, by responding to this picture with sips of remembrance, with sips of the grateful remembrance of Allah, by following the deen, the religion, as Sidi has mentioned it in this Ma'rifat as-Sir, this section on Ma'rifat as-Sir. By coming to the love, we pull the rug out from under our commanding self, our nafs, and we increase the likelihood thereby that we will be able to see what will be the appropriate response, how we need to respond outwardly in the world. So by making our first response, you could say our triage, by making our triage our first response to whatever the picture is that we have, fear, or simply don't worry about it, by responding with sips of grateful remembrance and discovering the love beneath even this somewhat terrifying picture, this then fills us with it increases the nurturing of our heart. By tasting the love, it gives us energy as well as vision beyond our nafs, beyond the habit of ourself, habits that we learned when we were quite young in situations very different from this, habits we learned as a species 200,000 years ago. We then open ourselves up to out-of-the-box solutions beyond that which are limited to our nafs. So again, to summarize, what we need to do is first and foremost to respond to this picture with alhamdulillah, with gratitude to Allah, and then this will increase the likelihood that we'll be able to see the appropriate adab, the appropriate behaviors that we need to follow, how to deal with this issue. Alhamdulillah. So we've gone past 9:30, but I can take more questions if there are any more. Otherwise, we can end. All right. And no more questions? Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, everyone will be filled with the love and come to the love. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taslima. Thank you very much for coming and for inviting me to do this.
Thank you so much, Abd al-Haqq, for the beautiful teaching and the sharing from your heart. We're very grateful.
Thank you so much, Abd al-Haqq Godlas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
You.
Oh.